Russia's state-owned energy supplier Gazprom says it is indefinitely halting the flow of gas through a key pipeline to Germany. The company says it's discovered leaks in a turbine. It was expected to restart deliveries today after a 3-day break for maintenance. But in a social media post, Gazprom announced Nord Stream 1 was now completely suspended without giving any time frame. European leaders reject the reasoning. They see this as an extension of Russia's war in Ukraine. Siemens, the German company that supplied Gazprom with the turbines, says there's no reason the pipeline couldn't keep operating. Germany's gas network regulator says the country has been preparing for a Russian gas shutdown, but that companies and households still need to reduce consumption. DW's political correspondent Benjamin Alvarez-Gruber has more.
It's not the first time that Russian state-owned company Gazprom announces that gas flows via the Nord Stream 1 pipeline to Germany will remain suspended over technical problems. This time, it says it has found an oil leak at a compressor station. Until it is resolved, the supplies will remain stopped, they say. Germany's economy ministry reacted, saying that this is just another sign of how unreliable Russia is as a partner, very similar to the criticism of the European Commission that says that Russia prefers to flare gas instead of honoring contracts. The big difference now is that Germany is better prepared for the situation than it was a few months ago, as gas storages in the country are now at 84%, according to figures of the German government. It is uncertain how long the gas flows will be suspended, but what is certain is that there is no trust between those countries. Moscow has blamed sanctions imposed by the West after Russia invaded Ukraine, but Brussels and Berlin have repeatedly stressed that this is just a pretext and that Russia is using gas as an economic weapon to retaliate.
Kyiv has offered to help end Berlin's dependence on Russian energy imports. Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal says Ukraine is prepared to increase electricity exports to Europe. He says it'd be good for both sides. The EU would get more energy and we would get the foreign currency we urgently need. Shmyhal is expected to meet the German Chancellor on Sunday. Gazprom announced its indefinite shutdown of Nord Stream 1 after the G7 group of industrial nations agreed to impose a price cap on Russian oil exports. They aim to limit Moscow's revenues and ability to pay for the war in Ukraine. The Kremlin has hit back by saying it will stop selling oil to countries implementing the cap. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has welcomed the move, calling for a similar price ceiling on Russian gas exports. Let's talk more about this with Anna-Sophie Corbeau. She's a global research scholar at the Center on Global Energy Policy at Columbia University. Her research focuses on hydrogen and natural gas. First of all, Russia's turned off the taps on Nord Stream 1 indefinitely. How dire is this, do you think?
This is very dire because in Europe we are facing not only a gas crisis, but a power crisis as well. We are facing a gas crisis because our key supplier, which represented until now 40% of our total gas supplies, is now delivering only about 20% of that by pipeline. So we have a big problem because we have tried to replace these volumes with LNG, but this LNG is outrageously expensive. I mean, the prices of gas at some point 2 weeks ago were at the equivalent of almost $600 per barrel. And we have a power crisis because we have lower nuclear, we have lower hydro, and they are not even replaced by the additions of renewable. And do not forget that natural gas represents about 20% of power generation, and natural gas demand in the power sector has not declined so far. So basically, the problems that we are seeing with nuclear and hydro are being replaced by a teeny bit more gas and a lot more coal, not more renewables. They are not really useful there.
What about Ukraine's offer to increase its electricity exports to Europe? Is that something that can happen overnight?
I do not know the specificities about that, but I mean, it's not every kilowatt hour, every terawatt hour right now is welcome. I think, we need to move away from ideology to pragmatism. Everything that we can bring back or keep, and I'm thinking about some nuclear power plants in Germany, is absolutely welcome during this winter. And also, I think politicians need to be extremely honest with the population. They should have been from the very beginning. They have been going around in the world trying to get additional gas supplies. They have not been focusing enough on the demand side. We need to reduce our demand, and it's a collective effort, a little bit like what the Japanese did after Fukushima. We need to reduce our demand, because what I'm afraid about is that this situation is going to go on for 3 years, right? Can you imagine how our industrial sector in Europe is going to survive for 3 years if they have either shortage of energy, because they are going to be the first cut, or they have to live with completely crazy prices compared to anybody else in the world? Our industry is just going to be uncompetitive. We are at war. We are at economic war with Russia. I mean, people need to realize that. And we need to think as we should be thinking in terms of an economic war, not try to timidly think, oh, yeah, maybe we can reduce a little bit. No, I mean, this is extremely serious situation that we are in.
You heard it from Anna-Sophie Corbeau from the Centre on Global Energy Policy at Columbia University. Thank you very much for being on the show today.
Thank you for the invitation.